Hello, guys. It's Shane Davis, 20-year comic book veteran. I'm here with none other than beautiful, lovely. Sometimes she will make a me, but mainly herself, a sandwich, Yanzi Lynn. And today we're here to we got the truth. Kevin Smith says he actually hate-watched HeMan as a child. Let's get in. So Yanzi found this tweet and brought it up to me, and I'm like, yeah. Let's get into it.
Yeah, so Kevin Smith here is saying this is actually kind of flattering. Both the boys and Captain Marvel went through this too, so I'm in good company. The review bombing is transparent, so luckily I'm not gonna trump. All right, so he is saying that the boys and Captain Marvel were review bombed, and so HeMan was review bombed, and therefore I'm not gonna let it bother me. But I don't really remember the boys being review bombed, and Captain Marvel, I think it was just storytelling was pretty bad.
Yeah, I don't think it was review bombed. I think Captain Marvel was a bad movie. Like, I don't know where people come up with these rose-tinted glasses.
Yeah, and like I said, I'm pretty sure the boys was not review bombed. So he says it's transparent. All right, so let's talk about this review bombing thing. Kevin Smith's Master Universe audience rating is being review bombed. Now, if you guys go and check though, if you click on like maybe the news tab when you do Google search on HeMan, you'll find that the term review bomb is being waved about by all these media outlets, where they talk about how it has very good critics rating, but the audience score is pretty poor. So let's actually look at Rotten Tomatoes. So it's a 94% fresh by the critics, and it's rated only 30% fresh, I guess you want to use the term, by the audience, based on a score of almost 2,000 viewers. So let's look at the breakdown here exactly. So the average rating by the audience is only 2 stars. That would be out of 5, I guess. And based on the critics, they're like, oh, it's like a 7 out of 10. We know, though, that traditionally when Rotten Tomatoes, when the critics love it, like overwhelmingly love it for some reason, the audience score is usually pretty low. I can think of some movies like I said, Captain Marvel or The Last Jedi.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know, though. I mean, I would assume that if we talk about review bombing, that pretty much means that people are organizing this and happening. But is it really true, though? Do you think people are really just organizing and saying, hey, HeMan, I hate it so much. I just hate Kevin Smith. Let's go and give it 1 star.
What's happening, because I've actually watched it and I'm a HeMan fan, is they baited a lot of people. We did a review on the trailer. We liked it. As you can see, like from this screenshot, this is like right off the bat, there's a ceremony for Teela, and she's being awarded Man of Arms status. So she's already replacing a loved character, Man of Arms. So no need, because Man of Arms, Teela, and HeMan were kind of like they were kind of like the holy trinity of the good guys, right? Teela was always there, very action-oriented character, never a damsel in distress at all, really. So this really doesn't make a lot of sense. As a fan of HeMan, they really baited us in. Awesome animation at the beginning that looks like the original box art moving around and stuff, which I wish the whole show looked like that. And I even like this animation style, to be honest. But, this woman's replacing one man, which is fine. And that honestly, this is where this type of thing should have stopped. Instead, it's also her becoming the protagonist of the whole thing, as HeMan kind of royally F's up the universe. Plus, there's a whole thing where they're kind of, retconning the whole Castle Grayskull thing. Now, what really bothers me as a HeMan fan is that all of this happens basically before the first episode's even over. So then I was only really bought in with bait for whatever new bullshit story they have. I'm not gonna spoiler alert. I'm helping you out. Don't watch this. You end up with like like Triclops and other members of Skeletor's crew ending up forming religions and stuff, just weird stuff that you really don't need. I don't need religions and cults being thrown into my HeMan. All this weird shit. Teela gets a girlfriend. She shaves half her head. Obviously it looks like there's a little bit of, I hate to use the word, but gay baiting a little bit with the character. And this is all fine. I really kind of don't care if you want to do that in a story. But when you go to HeMan, when you go to something that's evergreen, that's kind of a classic, and you're only grabbing it, obviously they dumped all these designs, everything that these characters were built to be, they dump all of it before the first episode's over to get to their story. So why even come to He-Man to begin with? Why not just tell this new story you have with new characters? Why? Because nobody would care unless you baited me into it. And this is what's happening with this score, is a lot of people were baited into something they would never watch. And that's why the user rating is so low. Now, they're saying they're being review bombed. The reality is Kevin Smith has been lying about certain things. He was very defensive about it being a Teela show when that information leaked out. And he got into some scraps with YouTubers like Clownfish and people on Twitter, very active. This thing sucks. He got caught up that he basically said he never liked He-Man, that somebody clipped that and found that clip. So, and now, after saying that's not true, I'm a He-Man fan, Teela, it's not the Teela show, Orko doesn't die, which he does. I hate to tell anybody that. Please don't watch this show. Now, he's actually coming clean again. So, here's the thing. I want to really go off on a rant on Kevin Smith for a second. Kevin Smith is this guy. He's kind of sold himself as this guru of Comic Town, of anything geek. And he's kind of fair weather, right? When comic books are booming, he's going to be talking about the Watchmen movie and how the new ending is better than the actual book. Anything that comes along that's kind of Hollywood and geekdom, he's kind of built this segue into it to get that sweet, sweet Hollywood cheddar. Now, here's the thing. Eventually, when you're an opportunist fanboy, you're eventually gonna roll over on the fans. That's the truth. Because if you're that much of an opportunist, you're really not gonna hold true to your geek cred. And the truth is it's okay for Kevin Smith not to like everything. But that's his brand, is I'm selling my likes on new entertainment of geek stuff. And that's the thing. That's his brand. That's what he's selling. But I think he should have set this one out. And we're gonna read some quotes that came out today. And this is the thing. This is going to turn into He-Man's toxic fans, when actually the people working on this show are the problem, not the fans of He-Man.
They're saying that people who are familiar with Smith might be surprised that Mattel would think of Smith as the right creative shepherd for an earnest sword and sorcery property about the hulking Adonis in a furry speedo and chestplate. Smith certainly was. I never would have put that together, he said. He was a young teenager during He-Man's run from 1983 to 85, and he wasn't exactly a die-hard fan. I almost hate-watched it, because I was like, this show's for babies. They have one of the baddest-ass villains in history, Skeletor, visually incredible, and all they did was somersault and not really fight. Nobody ever got stabbed, but it was the 80s, so you watch everything that was on. Alright, so he kind of really pinpointed the issue. In the 80s, and for cartoons especially, I don't think you're allowed to stab anyone, are you?
Well, there was an issue with just violence, and this is where, like, he obviously doesn't understand the property to deal with it. He-Man, guys, and I watched it when I got older, like in my teens and stuff, and it really doesn't hold up. And why? But, like, there's things I love about it, but you have to understand it was really for a young demographic. It was basically there for little boys, and She-Ra was there for the little boy's sister. And you wanted the She-Ra evil horde bad guys to keep playing with your He-Man toys. Now, the reason nobody stabbed anybody with a sword is because, again, it was for little kids. And He-Man would just end up picking up a boulder and throwing it at Trapjaw or Beastman or whatever. There was the animation thing of him throwing a boulder. I mean, yes, the character had a sword and he couldn't chop anybody's head off. It was not Highlander. It was not that Kevin Smith. I get that you were watching it when you were a teen. And the truth is it was built to sell toys, which there's a whole history I'm not going to get into about the action figures, which obviously Kevin Smith doesn't understand. And there's a reason that these characters look cool design-wise, because they were making lemons with lemonade. They only had a certain amount of parts to refigure, recolor, and repurpose with a few attachments to try to get them to, be unique characters onto themselves. And that's where the cartoon kicked in, was basically trying to, again, sell these here toys. Kevin Smith obviously is just coming clean with everybody now that the show's out here, and I don't understand what he's doing. I think what he's doing now is he knows this is a turd. He knows that it's not being received well, and there's really nobody but shill Hollywood backing this thing up. That only they are saying this thing's good, and instead, this is my theory. I think Kevin Smith's coming clean. He's saying, I always hated it. That's why it sucked. So it doesn't affect whatever he's working on before. He's trying to distance himself from this project and be like, yeah, that I know He-Man sucked, everybody. Like whoever's looking at him for a new job. Yeah, that sucked because I wasn't into it, but I'm into your new thing. And this is where, for a better lack of a word, you shouldn't have poured yourself out on geekdom so hard, Kevin. You really should just pick the things that you really were interested in and done. Because what Netflix did with He-Man, they could have done with She-Ra, but oops, they already did it with She-Ra. And that's the thing. There was a time and place for the things in this show, okay? A colorful glass palace, a woman lead, whatever this stuff you're going to do, that stuff, She-Ra, okay? That was built to keep... And that's the thing. I don't know why this is being pushed into He-Man, period. I mean, Netflix, I know they burned up the She-Ra card and it didn't go anywhere. But then just reboot it if you're so damn... If you have... Because it kills me, because if they'd even gotten He-Man right, they could have had a second shot at She-Ra. So they really just fucked this whole thing up. But, Kevin Smith's involved and, he hated it to begin with. And he probably took orders from high above at Netflix. And here we end up with a compromised product, which in the end is going to blame toxic fans. It's going to blame people for masculine guys with muscles swinging phallic objects at one another.
Yeah, so one of the big complaints, he's saying that there are people complaining that the show is woke. And yeah, there are girls in every episode deal with it in the original cartoons. But you see, the problem is not that. The problem is that he's complaining that the hardcore fans, they are saying there's not enough He-Man. And then he says, there were episodes in the original where he lost his sword and never became He-Man. It wasn't like He-Man always saved the days. His friends helped him. That was the beeping part of the show. And that is the problem. See, we all know that He-Man was not always heroics. He needed help from his friends. That was kind of something you teach your children too. You don't always only rely on yourself. You need help from your friends. And here's the problem. You can say, yeah, but see, at the end of the day, it was still He-Man as the lead.
Right. And often these episodes ended with a lesson that to learn from your mistakes or past, maybe, I don't know. This was a running theme, again, with G.I. Joe at the endings, Silverhawks even. This was basically they were trying to get parents' approval. So, obviously He-Man was making bad decisions sometimes in the episodes, and maybe Teela was right, or Man-at-Arms were right, or whatever. Don't talk to strangers, kids. The thing is he was never perfect. But, so where do you go from there if you're wanting to push this character down? You kill him. And then you say a woman can now saves the day. And if you were even going to do this, you could have done it with She-Ra if you'd only gotten this right. And it's such a shame to get almost this right, and then it sucks. But, whatever, Kevin Smith... good going, I guess. I don't know. You hated it anyways, so why not sink it, right? Anyways, guys, if you will, look down below, hit the subscribe button, leave us a comment below. Want to hear what you have to think about. Well, what you think about it. Honestly, I really want to hear that. Plus, share the video, help us out, hit the like button. It always helps our channel out. Also, I want to point you to Inglorious Rex, our next Indiegogo project, probably launching in a month after we fulfill Starlight Cat. So I'll leave you guys with the trailer. Catch you again with another video.
Pardon me and my tone. You can't step to my throne. They ain't working like me. I did this on my own. You asking where we been, huh? I don't know where to begin, huh? All this dirt on my skin. I just came here to win. I'm more than a man, I'm a monster. Somebody call a pastor, doctor. I got a 6 cents for a pasta. So now I'm coming for the whole roster. It's not a game, why you playing with me? You could double back, lose track, try and hang with me. It must be in my veins, something you can't tame, cause I break the chains. Can't control me. I got the power. I got the keys.